Hello, friends, and welcome back to Super Real Human. It has been a while, and I have got to tell you that that means there's a lot of material for us to cover, and I'm looking forward to it. So, today's episode, we are going to talk about the trip of a lifetime that I recently had the incredible fortune to go on. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, give some highlights, share in a little bit of that joy. And then we're going to talk about kind of the elephant in the room for me surrounding that trip. And then we're going to talk about, okay, as a business owner going on a 2-week vacation, what does that look like? And we're going to talk about some of the real, not so great parts of it. And that's something that I've talked about in years past. I feel like every time I go on vacation, I learn some of these lessons over and over and over again. But they keep changing just a little bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So grab your favorite cup of beverage, whether it's coffee, tea, water, whatever you're drinking, and sit back and let's get ready to chat. All right. So this trip of a lifetime, mind you, was probably a 2.5 year in the making trip. And it all started when we were on a family trip back in 2023. And Darren said, you know what? The Winter Olympics are in Italy in 2026, and I would love to go. And I was like, okay, sure. Like, first of all, I'm down for any reason to go to Italy. It is one of my happy places. And I love sports. I just never thought I would go to the Olympics. I never really thought, yeah, that sounds like a fun trip. Let's do it. Glimpse ahead, like so worth it. But anyway, so this was 2.5 years ago, and he throws the idea out there, and I'm like, all right, well then let's make it happen. Now, internally, I'm like, I don't know how the hell we're going to make this happen. Like, there is no way. In order to do this, we are going to have to pony up so much money. And 2023 wasn't like the best business year. I'm putting my first kid into college. Like, I'm not so sure this is like a prudent decision. But you know what? I'm all for throwing stuff out into the universe. It's time to pony up. It's time to actually do what I practice, what I preach. And so we decided at that point to start just taking tiny little steps, right? Like one little action after another will get us there. So first things first, I started researching. Okay, what does it look like? How do you get Olympic tickets? Like, is there a wait list? Yes, there is. Okay, sign up for the wait list. Sign up for ticket sales. Do all the things. Identify what events we want to go to. And so that's exactly what we did. We signed up. We got in early to the lotteries, and ticket sales went, they opened. Gosh, back, it was a year ahead. So February of 25, tickets opened up, and they did like events. They didn't do everything all at once, right? So it was kind of like one thing and then another. So Darren had said that his top ticket would be the women's gold medal ice hockey game. Now, as somebody who played ice hockey in high school and college, a little bit in college, I was all for it. I was like, yes, please. And of course, you don't know who's going to make that game, right? So then you're like, kind of like follow the teams along, and it wild ride, and like could not have been luckier. Like, we totally lucked out. But we built our entire trip around that game. So we knew that we were going to end in Milan on that game. So anything else we wanted to see would lead us to that point. So over the course of a year, we bought a couple more event tickets. We realized that Maddie was going to be studying abroad and she'd be able to meet us. So, we figured out what event that would be. We eventually booked Airbnbs in 3 different towns where we wanted to stay. So we were close to venues, but it had to do with the travel and the transportation to get to the venues. And then we finally bought our plane tickets on New Year's Day this year, like 6 weeks before we left. Probably didn't score the best deal on those, but it is what it is. So we put together this whole literally 2-year plan, just taking one step after another, one step at a time. And we built this dream vacation where we went to Italy for just about 2 weeks. And it was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. I have to say that I can't believe I never thought like, yeah, let's go to the Olympics before, or let's make that happen sometime in your lifetime. Because now at the end of it, Taryn's like, so France in 4 years? Um, which of course I was like, yes. And maybe we volunteer because that looks like a really cool gig. I'm kind of gel that we didn't do it for the Italy ones because I really liked the color and the outfits that the volunteers got. Um, but there are some serious perks to that gig. I mean, you don't get paid, but you kind of get a front row seat to a lot of that stuff. So pretty cool. Anyway, I digress. Amazing trip, opportunity of a lifetime. A lot to plan for and consider when you are a small business owner and you're working with multiple clients, because that's a lot of juggling and a lot of leaving people to their own devices for 2 weeks. But there was a little bit more to it this trip. Now, before I kind of jump past the amazing experience that it was phenomenal. Italy, you do gluten free so well, so well. The food was phenomenal. I've had the best pizza that I've had in a decade at least. We were in the region where our favorite type of wine is made, grown, made. So that was great. Time together for 2 weeks. I mean, it has its ups and downs, but as a couple who's been dating for years now, but living in two different locations, um, it was actually really good for us to spend 2 weeks together nonstop. Like I said, I got to spend time with my oldest who's studying abroad this semester. So there was just a lot of wonderful, beautiful, amazing things. Just the people we met from all over the world, right? From every country, right? We made friends with some folks from Australia and some from England. We got to witness people cheering for their athletes, like their family members, and just they maybe athletes that they didn't know, but they were from their country. Seeing this sort of coming together of all different cultures and languages and nationalities, and everybody being in the same space with the same purpose, which is cheering on their athletes, right? Being proud to be from their country and cheer on their athletes. We didn't know anybody. I mean, like, we knew who they were, but we had no personal connection to any of the athletes from the States. And it was really adorable. This kid, his family we made friends with, all because of this little 7-year-old boy who poked his head through the seats on the bus leaving Cortina one night and was like, hello, are you rooting for Team GB? And I was like, you're the cutest thing in the whole wide world. And we were like, no, we're from the States, so we're here supporting Team USA. But just excited to see everybody. And he's like, that's okay. We can still be friends. I was like, you're my favorite little human. It was great. It was absolutely great. And that one little snippet of a conversation summed up the experience from my perspective. Now, I will say I went into the Olympics not packing anything red, white, and blue in my suitcase. No, that's not true. I had blue jeans. I had some red pants, or burgundy pants. But no, first of all, I didn't plan far enough in advance to take USA themed gear with me. So, lesson number one, if you go to the Olympics, dress in your team colors, right? No matter how you're feeling at the moment, it's just a cool experience, right? And everyone is like, hey, you're here for so and so. That's awesome. It's just the camaraderie and the kindness of strangers was pretty awesome. Number two, pins are a thing. I've been to Disney, so I get the whole pin trading concept. Didn't even think about it that it would be a thing at the Olympics. So felt like we missed out, had a little FOMO there. But I know next time that if we go to France, I'm custom making pins to trade. Anyway, it was pretty cool. So two things that I learned, those two things. But it was a great experience. Back to the whole, I didn't really pack any red, white, and blue. I struggled. So a lot of people don't even know that I went on this amazing trip of a lifetime, that Darren and I went and made this happen, right? Took this wild dream and made it a reality, because I haven't talked a lot about it except in my inner circle. Because the elephant in the room is that, my God, life feels like an absolute shit show right now in a lot of ways. And I didn't feel comfortable being like, look at me, I'm going on this great trip, even though I wanted to share it and kind of spread that joy and share that experience with people, right? Like I'm enjoying like watching YouTube right now of people like sailing and anything that almost feels a little bit detached from current reality, if I'm being honest. Um, but it was really a struggle for me who's like, I see the silver lining, like always choose optimism, like, right? Like it has been a little bit of a slog sometimes. And finding the things to say. I have found it a lot easier to um, do the things and make my actions speak more so than my words. And as somebody who advises and counsels others on what to say and do, but what to say and how to show up, it's it's been interesting. It's been interesting. There's not a whole heck of a lot going on in the public sphere that I can like get behind, even remotely. And so feeling so heavy, feeling a lot of the weight of what's going on in the world got in the way of me sharing that joy. And also, I found that super freaking frustrating because I am not one to keep my mouth shut. I am not one to sort of like sit back and just let the world go on by. So it's been very interesting. So I have found other ways to channel, right? Places where I have more of a direct impact, etc. And also have vowed to spread joy and kindness where I can. So, for example, I had seen on Instagram this story of a woman who was taking a trip and she made little goodie bags for all of the flight crew, right? Like the pilots and the attendants and everybody else on the the team on the plane. And I was like, I'm going to do that because how many times have you been traveling and someone is just being an absolute jackass to somebody that has to do with travel, whether it's the flight attendant or the people getting seats organized and getting people on the planes? Like people are rude. And for no reason, like, did nobody learn that like being kind actually gets you further in life? And that like, even if it doesn't get you further, it's just better. Like, don't you feel better when you're nice? Like, why be so angry and angsty? Like, there's enough going on in the world. Like, gah. Anywho, so I made little gift bags, and Darren helped me put them all together. But it was my way of sort of just spreading a little bit of kindness. And the people on the receiving end of those tiny little gift bags were so sweet, right? Like they all made a point to stop by our seats and say thank you. And after like one or two, I was like, okay, no, really, thank you. Like, please, like, I'm gonna go to sleep now. But it was really sweet. It was very, very kind. On the flight home, uh, they made a slightly bigger deal out of it, which was embarrassing. But also gave me the opportunity when the people next to me were like, what the heck did you do? And I shared it. They were like, I would like to do that. That's something that I can also do. I travel a lot. Like that's a way that I can spread some kindness. And so that made me feel really good that it was an opportunity to just say, hey, look, like this doesn't take much. And these people are often on the receiving end of just people's bad days and crap. So if a little thing of chapstick and some chocolates will brighten your day, like I'm happy to spread that joy. So anyway, um, all that rambling to say, I didn't talk about this amazing trip and all of the lessons that I learned while on it and all the things that I observed. I haven't talked about it yet because I think I was trying to find a place where it fit. And what I realized was life happens concurrently, right? And so we can, and I think we all experience the highs and the lows, right? The joy and the frustration or sadness or anger or whatever other things we're feeling, right? There's a whole scale of feelings and emotions and experiences, and life is meant to hold all of them, and there's space for all of them. So, that said, I'm going to pull from this experience moving forward now that we're home, and apparently going to start planning for the next one in a couple of years. but it really was a wild experience. And it was a good opportunity for me to be able to put some stuff down for a little bit and realize that there are such good things in the world, even when things feel really heavy and hard. And you don't know how you're going to be received, right? Because you're getting mixed messages. Let's be honest. On the day to day here, like we are getting mixed messages. And so a little nerve wracking, kind of not knowing what to expect on many fronts, right? So this is kind of a good transition into sort of the reentry piece I want to talk about, and sort of the reality of being a business owner and taking a big trip like this. The planning part, planning the trip and planning the work stuff, hard enough. But then you have you have expectations and unknowns, right? So there's the unknown of going on this trip when things feel kind of volatile and heavy in the world, and you're coming from a place where you're not sure how it's going to be received, right? Um, and then you go to this experience and you see different cultures and countries and communities and people just kind of coming together. Everyone's rooting for their own people, and yet respectfully and together, and cheering on folks and consoling people who didn't have the outcome they were looking for or hoping for, right? And then you're sitting at dinner in a restaurant and like the Olympians are sitting at the table next to you. Like wild, wild experience. And also a reminder of the good of humanity. And my God, did I need that? I think more than anything, even more than that really amazing red wine made by that cute woman that we met in that tiny little wine shop. Yeah. Yeah. A reminder that humanity is good. That even though sometimes it feels like a complete and utter disaster, there is good all around the world. And people are people. People are individuals. So I think that was a really beautiful lesson. And that one I am happy to share. But let's talk about like the ugh side of vacation, because let's be honest, there is one, right? Like when you come home, how many times have you said, I need a vacation from my vacation? Even if it's just to do the laundry and clean the house because you thought you did a good job before you left, but maybe not. But let's talk about it as a business owner, right? Who is serving multiple clients. And there's a lot to get in order before you go so that you can fully embrace and engage and be present in this thing that you have planned 2 years for, right? So I'm going to say that I have learned a lot over the years of being able to do this, being able to disconnect and take time for me so that I can recharge and come back better than ever for myself, but also for my clients and for my business. Because let's face it, that's how we can go on the trips, right? Life. So I was nervous about reentry because 2 weeks is a long time. There was a lot of change happening at one of my clients while I was away. And even though I was still engaged in it and from afar, um, you never know. You never know. And I don't really want to talk about the challenges of reentry, although they are real. And no matter how well you plan and the process and the protocol and all of the other things, right? Kind of you have your marching orders and sort of you have your directives and they're clear. That's kind of where you have to leave it, right? Because at that point, you can't control anyone else's actions. You can't control what anybody else does or thinks or says, especially when you're on the other side of the ocean. So you sort of have to go and understand that when you return, the only thing you have control over is how you re-enter and how you respond to whatever might be happening around you, right? And revisit directives, clarity, expectations, etc. Right? Because things can go a little bit rogue, right? Like we're all humans. This is what happens. So just a reminder to revisit. And when you do come back from a trip and something might not have gone as you had hoped or you thought, do a little debrief, even if it's just with yourself, so that you can learn better for the next time. But I think the biggest lesson from that is you can only control you and your responses, right? So, as frustrating as a reentry situation might be, take that deep breath, right? As one of my campaign supporters said decades ago, Mr. Sean Fay, be the armadillo, right? Be the armadillo and let that storm wash off your back and move forward being you. Don't change who you are. Don't change the fact that you're trusting or that you're going to be someone's biggest cheerleader, right? Like, still be you. And remember what you can control. You can make those changes. You can tweak your process for the next time. Um, but whatever you do, don't stop taking that time for you. All right. And this is like directly to you, my business owner friends. Like, do not forget how important it is to be able to step away and recharge. And here's the thing, I'm kind of looking at it as a challenge because I am going away again for 2 more weeks. And this time it's to teach. It's the class that I teach over in Poland. And so I'm getting ready to go and teach. And I know that it is happening again, right? Like same clients, different situation, right? I'm still going to be, working remotely, but in a different time zone, but I'm out of sight for 2 weeks. So I get the opportunity to improve my clarity, improve my messaging, improve my expectations, both ways, the expectations on myself and for those that I support, right? How are we going to do this and how are we going to do it better, right? Let's just focus on that. Let's figure that out. And really make sure that all the right pieces are in place to have a really successful time. So that even though this isn't necessarily a vacation for me, I do get a couple of days to enjoy while I am there. It's not a vacation, it is a work trip. But how can I take those moments while I'm there to make sure that I am rested and on the top of my game? Don't lose sight of the importance of that. Cool. Cool. So listen, I would actually love to talk more about this trip and the adventures and the one that I got coming up because exciting. So if you have any questions, if you want to know like, hey, I want to plan an Olympics trip, how did you do it? More than happy to share those details. Because I think it was a little bit planning, a little bit dreaming, a little bit manifestation, right? I think there were a lot of pieces at play and some definite fun stories to share of some experiences in that trip, like folks we met, kind of my MO of like being kind, firm, boundaries, but kind when things don't go as planned to remedy the situation. I believe that there's always a way. There is always a way. So don't forget that. Take care of yourself. Go ahead and dream up some adventure that you can take in 2 years, right? What adventure do you want in your life that you can kind of look ahead and say, in 2 years, I want to do this? Start researching it. Look it up. Make it happen. Make it happen. And please don't forget that there is good in the world. Humanity is good. People are good. And don't let go of the joy and the kindness. Okay? Okay. Love you guys. See you soon. Mwah.